Greetings and welcome to the Talk to Me America show, where the world wants to hear what you have to say in a minute or two. I'll tell you when. So call me and tell them like it is. Welcome to the show. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Everything seems to be working except for Rumble. I don't know why Rumble's not working. It continues to play my placeholder as if it's going to play, but it didn't take my information again this time. All I see is my placeholder where I've got it's spinning. All right, let's see, where am I? Okay, all right. Of course, you know I'm Lord Goddess, your hostess. Brought to you by Here's What I Heard, the channel that you're listening to me on now. In fact, I am now on Odysee, YouTube, and Rumble, although Rumble is not working for me at the moment. I don't know why. It worked the other day, and everybody helped me, and everybody was... So, anyway, thank you for clicking on my little acre of the internet today. I want to thank everyone that's supported me and all of that. This was a very exciting upgrade for me. I just got 1K. Thanks to you all, I could actually afford it. Appreciate it. Like I said before, every little bit helps, and it goes right back into what I'm doing because my purpose is to grow this for you guys. I want people calling, people from all over the earth calling and letting their voices be heard. America supposedly used to be the shining star of the world, and probably still is in a lot of cases, even though people don't want to tell you about it. But I'd like to remain that way, and what better way than to have everybody have a say-so? That's the whole point. That was one of the whole points. Why do you think it's the First Amendment? Freedom of speech, freedom of speech. So, of course, it allows me to do Rumble now. Of course, Rumble's not working, so I don't know what to do with Rumble. If anybody's got any tips, or can actually see it. I'm not seeing it here. If you can see it on Rumble. Let's see. 451 actual. We're going to be talking about one of the topics you discussed the other day in your very long and very passionate rant. What would we do without 451 actual? I don't know. I don't know what I would do without him now. It's one of those things, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Evidently, I'm doing okay. Let's see what else we got. Limited access. Welcome, welcome. Sparky the Welder. Welcome. Pastor Chatelet. We're live. If your new stream hasn't confirmed yet, we may get forced over when it does. Are you talking about on Rumble? I don't know a whole lot about Rumble, and it actually seems a little odd. American Ink Music. All right. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you being here today. Make sure to check out their music, their awesome patriotic music, metal music. Awesome, awesome. Of course, he gets played regularly on 451 Actual Show. That's how much he kicks ass. Toasty, welcome, welcome. I have a gift. When shit hits the fan, your family and friends will be lucky. Oh, limited access. Yeah. Well, if nothing else, they'll be able to eat. Is it buffering? Is everything buffering? I can see it. No, that's going good. And that's going good. All right. Over here on YouTube, limited access. Thank you for being here. Bruin Backhand, welcome back to the show. Good to see you. And I had a very good week. I hope you had a good week too. Appreciate you being here. I don't know what to do about Rumble, so I went in. One thing about Rumble, every time you do a new live feed, it gives you a new code, doesn't it? Or does it? Does it? I've noticed that every time I've gone live on Rumble, I have had a new code. So I'll mess with it some more. I'm not going to screw with it too much because I don't want to waste everybody's time with the technical junk. besides everybody that I always see. I didn't announce it, and I don't think anybody expected me to really be on Rumble, so I'm not really missing that much at the moment, or am I? Convince my wife to call in. She wants to, but is too nervous. Why? I can't do anything to you, like bite you or anything through the phone. And actually, that's one of the things I do tell people. I don't know if you've ever done any kind of dance music or anything like that, or how you perform or where you perform, but that's always been one of the things that I've noticed, that it's kind of the same thing about when I'm out performing. Nobody wants to be the first people on the dance floor, even though nobody would care. And usually when one person gets on the dance floor, everybody gets on the dance floor at that point. And it's like, and the thing that used to boggle my mind is that nobody would want to be the first people to get on the dance floor until like the third or fourth to the last song that we were doing for the night. We'd worked our asses off all night long. Finally, somebody gets on the dance floor. Then everybody swarms on the dance floor, and we're finished after 4 songs. And everybody's like, oh, come on, play more, play more. It's like, dudes, where were you 3 hours ago? Where were you 4 hours ago? You know, so yeah, don't be afraid to call in if you want to call in, if you got something to say. It doesn't even have to be about the topic that we're talking about, or that I mention, or anything like that. Bruin Backhand is on YouTube. Yes, I said that. 451 Actual. I looked at your Rumble. It says the 16th. Here's the Rumble tip. Always select go live now instead of trying to set up a time date. It will wait until you actually go live. Not sure if this is the issue. Just something I noticed. Oh, okay. Well, all right, that's a good tip. What I did do on that one, in fact, I had scheduled one day before yesterday for today, but it wouldn't let me change the time to 7 o'clock. So I thought, okay, well, fuck it, it's going to go on live, and it'll just pick it up when I start broadcasting. And it didn't. So I noticed that when I started about 5 minutes before the hour, just to make sure that everything does run and is running properly, because for some reason or another, my Windows likes to reset things for me sometimes. And I actually have everything assigned like it should be assigned, because I don't have anything really going through the actual, I don't know, motherboard, the defaults. I don't use defaults if I can help it. So yeah. So yeah, I try to do a little run just beforehand, just to make sure that everything's working properly. Otherwise, I can't hear you. Oh, I can't see you. So okay, Rumble. So you said it says on the 16th. I didn't pay attention to that. Like I say, I tried to get it quickly because it wasn't picking up on the one that I had scheduled earlier. So maybe it just did that. Is there a way to edit it while I'm live? Probably not, huh? Okay, Pastor Chatelet says it's 5x5. YouTube is 5x5. Good. When Pastor Chatelet gets threatened by glowies. Yep, That was a very, very funny movie. I love that movie. But I mean with this hand. Rumble is weird lately. Okay. Well, I'll keep messing with it. Like I say, thanks to all of you guys and everybody that's supported me and thrown me a few pennies here and there has actually helped me to grow just a little bit, which, like I say, to me is very exciting. This is this is the whole purpose. Of course, I'm finding out now that I probably need a faster computer. Of course, everything needs to be upgraded. I started out simply, and to be honest with you, I started out just doing videos. I didn't have any idea that I was going to start going live until I did. And now now all of this is being my experience that I need. So thanks once again, and of course you know how to support me. I also wanted to make a correction from last week. When I was thanking everybody for the donations and things like that, I misspoke. And I guess it was just because I had a brain fart or something like that, because I had looked at it, but evidently I didn't write it down on my little notes. So I misspoke. I had said that Crack Galactica broke my Ko-Fi cherry, but it wasn't Crack Galactica. I apologize. It was Meme TV Magical Trevor who popped the Ko-Fi cherry and bought me a cup of coffee. That is actually one of the ways that you can donate to me. I've got that down there. And of course, I'm only doing that because it becomes highly, highly recommended by Pastor Chatelet, which again, thank you for being here. There's the Drunken Rocky. Appreciate you being here tonight. So yes, thank you so much, Magical Trevor. I apologize for the mistake. For my first kofefe. Appreciate it. So, and of course, thanks to all of you guys that support. I was able to do a little bit of growing, very exciting. And of course, I'm going to have to mess with Rumble some more. DJ Brandrag, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the show. All right. In fact, actually, I was so excited about this. I got this installed on Tuesday, and they were really quick about it. I was blown away. I called them on Monday and said, oh, yeah, we got an appointment for you at 8 o'clock the next morning. It's like, that's usually too early for me, but I'm not I'll get up. So I actually got so excited about it and started working on this stuff and doing everything with it and trying to test out everything. I was totally zoned out on Tuesday. I am so sorry for missing the roundtable distraction or destruction on Tuesday. By the time I realized it, I was on my way to Denny's to go get a midnight snack with my husband. So yeah, what can I tell you? I zoned out. Sorry about that. Although I get off early this Saturday, I might be able to make this Saturday, and I'll try to be better. All right, DJ Based, welcome to the show. New stream each time. You got to get the new key and RMTP. Is something on my channel actually playing? No, I guess it wouldn't. Although the weird part about it is it's playing my placeholder. It asked me to upload a video to placehold. So I just put my squiggly letters with the American flag. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, DJ Bass, thank you for the library coin. Every little bit helps. And if we'll loop until it goes live. Okay. So I had one that was scheduled for today, and that's the only thing it'll play now. Is my placeholder. Ah, badass Brad Allen. Of course, don't forget to check him out. All right. Once again, sorry about missing out on the round table. I zoned out. I messed with the Red Dawn Radio for a few minutes, and then I started doing something else. It reminded me I got on here to email him because he said he needed my email, and then I noticed something else that I needed to do, and then I started working on this, and by the time I realized, it's like, oh shit, I missed the round table. I was on my way to Denny's. By the time I got back, I think you guys were done or whatever. So yeah, sorry about that, dudes. No excuse. Other than sometimes I'm very easily distracted, and of course, like I say, I was extremely excited about getting the 1K because that means that better quality for y'all and probably better quality when talking on the phone and stuff too, with all of this stuff going on and everything like that. So yes, I'm having a great day. Let's see, Zoot Suit Cooter. I saw you on Jericho Green the other day. How are you? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. All right, plugs real quick. 451 Actual, of course, our metal man. Raynoth, the Roundtable Distraction on Tuesdays and Saturdays. The Drunken Rocky will be on after me tonight. So go check out the White Pill. Of course, as always, Pastor Chatelet. Red Dawn Radio, Loyal 9, DJ Brandrack. Rougarou, the man with the plan. He's the one that keeps the schedule for all of us that are in this network and everything like that. Of course, don't forget Anger Bang and American Ink Music. And if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. But I got a proposal for you. Since you're doing it for everybody else, why not do it for me too? Shoot me your commercials. Or if you want to make a video about my show, or a commercial for my show, or a commercial for your show, I'll put it in my show. And I'll also put it on my channel, and etc. and etc. and etc. Yes, Brad Allen Music. Badass Brad Allen says 451's rant yesterday was awesome. Indeed it was. In fact, he gave me an idea. He gave me an idea for my show tonight. All right. So, like I say, if you guys want to do something for the show or whatever like that, excuse me. I think you can send it to my Element, but you can also probably send it to my email as well. So, and I'll try to infiltrate some of those commercials in my show, maybe even do a longer show, especially now that I can do Rumble. It's not working now, but I'll work on it some more. Like I say, I had never really even announced it. I was just so excited I was just going to do it. But it seems to be working. Everything seems to be streaming pretty well. And like I say, I've got better bandwidth. So, yay! One step closer to a better show for everybody out there, and etc. All right, I'm going to open the phone lines right now, because I'm sure you guys are going to want to talk about this. Once again, this particular show was inspired by 451 Actual, his rant the other day with regards to trusting the government. All right, basically, the more articles and the more web pages that he pulled up and talked about, the less and less that we now know, and have always known, that we can trust our benevolent government. Now, you know these people in power that haven't been even voted for, who actually process, or not, the requests, requirements, and results that we hope that they'll accomplish when it comes to the help that they lavish upon us, while calling us terrorists at the same time. I think we all remember this. Let me know if you can hear it.
You all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
You guys remember that, right? I do. In fact, that's one of the things that stuck with me through a lot of years. In fact, I think what was Reagan was president in '84, and that's when I graduated high school. That was when everybody started bugging me, vote, 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 vote. So we paid attention. And of course, my dad would watch the news all the time. He was actually into politics back then, big time. So, but I agree with Reagan there. And always have. He actually put it into words. I think a lot of people at that time agreed with that. But also, at that time, he was one of the first people to ever just vocalize it that way. You know how somebody will say something and it'll just go bing. Yeah, it's been in the back of my head forever and ever. But damn, why didn't I think of that? You know? Okay, so I was watching. I think it was Mr. Reagan. Of course, Mr. Reagan. Brain farts again. Because I'm a blonde. Yeah, yeah, yeah. One of the people that I was listening to the other day, he found some footage of Thomas Sowell, which I actually enjoy listening to Thomas Sowell. He's an economist with a doctorate from Chicago. He went to 3 or 4 several different colleges after actually dropping out of high school. But this is someone that educated themselves and literally switched from Marxism. He says he was 19 years old and that he'd read the Marxist book and all of that stuff made sense to him and everything until he started working for the government. Listen to what he says about this.
Stubborn. But what really changed me was not the University of Chicago. It was my first job working in a professional capacity for the government. I was a summer intern.
This is after Chicago? Or
No, while I was still a graduate student.
Got it.
And so during the summer vacation, I worked in the U.S. Department of Labor. And I began to realize, from a number of things, that the government is not simply the personification of the general will like Rousseau or others. The government is an institute. The government institutions have their own institutional interests. One involved the minimum wage law. I was a big supporter of that. But I also knew that there was an argument that minimum wage law simply priced low-wage workers out of a job. Mm-hmm. And my first assignment dealt with minimum wages in Puerto Rico. And as I looked at the numbers, I would see as they would jack up the minimum wages, the number of jobs would go down and so forth. But there were 2 explanations. One was that of the economists, that you price the people out of a job. And the other was that there were hurricanes that had come to Puerto Rico You see, during the sugar harvesting, and therefore, and I was studying the sugar industry, and therefore it destroyed a lot of the crop. Therefore, you wouldn't hire as many workers. Now, in Chicago, I'd been taught that if there are two different theories, there should be some empirical evidence in principle that could distinguish what would happen under one theory from what would happen under the other.
Right.
And so I wrestled with that for most of the summer. And one morning I came in and I said, I got it. What we need are data on the amount of sugar canes standing in the fields before the hurricane struck. And as I waited for the congratulations, I could see stricken looks around me in the room. Like, this guy has stumbled on something that will ruin us all. You know? And they said, well, we don't have those data. I said, oh, I'll bet the Department of Agriculture has it. He said, well, but that doesn't mean we have it. You'd have to have a request go up the chain of command to the Secretary of Labor. He would then confer with the Secretary of Agriculture. It would come down the chain of command in the Department of Agriculture to whoever has those numbers, and so on. I said, good. Well, they say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, so I will now submit my request to the Secretary of Labor, which I did. And I am still patiently awaiting this reply.
And the institutional fear of the number was what? That it would...
The U.S. Department of Labor administers the minimum wage law.
I see.
And the money and the careers of perhaps a third or some other significant percentage of the Labor Department's resources come from administering the minimum wage law.
See? This is the reason why we should all realize that these people in government, they don't give a shit about us. All they care about is keeping their jobs and getting their raises. All right, a phone call already. 2 minutes to midnight.
Hey, what's up? How you doing today, Laura?
I'm doing fantastic and even better now. Welcome to the show.
Right, awesome. I heard you had some extra bandwidth, so hoping you would listen to my conversation real quick.
Sure.
So anyways, since you're talking about the bureaucracy of the government, let me mute your stream real quick before I keep talking so I can hear myself talk.
Okay.
All right, anyways. So yeah, like Thomas Sowell brings that out. Like obviously I currently work in the government, and I've been through many different places, different units within my career. And one of the biggest things that I noticed within working in the military in itself is that just to fucking dispatch a vehicle, for example, right? Just to like let someone borrow or drive a Humvee, you need the fucking commander's signature, or if he has not delegated to the XO, and it also requires like you have to fucking inspect it and do your little checklist, and then it also requires a fucking clerk at an office to stamp it, and then it requires a fucking motor sergeant to inspect that shit. It's a whole lot of paperwork for something that can be like, yeah, we checked it, it's good, and then it should be at that level, and then just have a little bit of extra trust on your subordinates. And I think the biggest thing about bureaucracy that causes it is there's a lack of trust at the lower level, which there should be some kind of supervisor to make sure that the guys that are supposed to be working at the bottom are being kept in check. However, what happens is over time they just keep adding layers and layers and layers of more shit, which kind of makes everything a lot slower as far as like trying to get things accomplished.
They all have a job to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it just kind of gives them, they're just trying to give themselves a purpose essentially. Mm-hmm. But rather than making the organization better by fucking doing more productive things like working around the area or within their own scope, they tend to micromanage at the lowest level when you get to that position. And that's that micromanagement, it would cause a lot of the bureaucratic shit to happen in government.
Sounds very frustrating.
Yeah, it can be at times. But like I said, it's all hit and miss depending on which organizations you go. The bigger the organization is, the more clumsy it is as far as like getting shit done, because of all the shit that requires of getting. You have to bark up to the fucking chain of command, like Thomas Sowell was saying, and then you have to get word from the highest chain to come back down and be like, yeah, that's okay, to get their approval. So yeah, I think it's just it's a lot of it is micromanagement, and a lot of it is just unnecessary fucking people just being there. Too many chiefs, not too many Indians. So
That's it. That's exactly what he was saying, and that's one of the reasons. This is I'm actually trying to elaborate on what 451 Actual was talking about as far as being able to trust these guys. I actually got a few things. It gave me the idea to do this, and there's actually a reason why, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
You can't trust these people because they're not in it for you. Even though they claim to be public servants, these people, a lot of these people, especially our politicians, which I'll get to them in a few minutes too. But yeah, they tell us one thing and don't do anything. And then they always continue to, oh, we're doing it for your good and this is for you. And no, it's all for their own self-interest. You cannot ever trust that.
Yeah, absolutely, and I agree with you 100%. And a lot of it is that these politicians, they just work for themselves for the most part.
Yeah.
They don't have the interest of the people. They have the interest of their pocketbook and who they're going to lobby and who's going to give them the extra paycheck and who's going to fund them for their next election, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the thing. The biggest thing that we need to solve is, as far as like getting shit back under control. One, being a politician or serving Congress, the Senate, or any of these kinds of positions need to be a public service. So it shouldn't be a career essentially. There shouldn't be any money involved in it, and that it shouldn't be like a fucking career for like 20 years where you can retire. That's just stupid.
I think it was originally placed there for people that really didn't want to do it. In fact, that's the reason why you're elected into it.
Yeah, it's like jury duty. Like no one wants to fucking do jury duty, right?
Right.
I mean, I don't want to do jury duty, but that's how it should be. It should be like a selective process. Like, hey, like you're gonna get picked to be fucking president of the United States since you're like an outstanding citizen with no criminal record, and you work at and you're the CEO of fucking let's just say you're the CEO of fucking My Pillow, right?
Right. We're gonna talk about him in a minute too.
Yeah, I know. I kind of figured we're gonna segue into that in a little bit, because it's ridiculous how fucking the American three-letter Gestapo is after people now. But yeah, it's good to see that you're up, Laura, and it's always good to fucking have my voice. Good to call in once in a while. I kind of been lurking out and about in the pond. I've just been kind of busy, but absolutely, bureaucracy is bullshit, and it's bad for you.
Yeah, it is. All right. Well, do you want to plug your show?
Sure. Check out 2 Minutes to Midnight, where the apocalypse is always 2 minutes away. We always have entertainment commentary and news, all done in virtual reality. So join me in the wire.
Yes, very cool. I can actually see that on here. I don't know if I can share that though. It looks different than as if you were calling me just like you and me, on camera.
Oh, I'm sure there's a way to do it. You have to go on OBS, and then you have to share your screen. It's gonna be like your Skype call. You have to the monitor will pop up, but you can figure that out off screen if you want to. We don't have to do that during your live show. It's not. I think that's not the best thing to do right now.
Okay, so yeah, definitely make sure you guys go check out 2 Minutes to Midnight. He's got a great show. That's on Saturday nights. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I usually stream Saturday after Meme TV or right after a Trump rally because Trumpy takes a lot of attention. So
yes, indeed. I'm usually working on Saturdays, but I try and catch anybody's show whenever I get a chance. I try to support that way.
That's awesome. Thank you, Laura.
That's what we can do. So, and like I say, if you got a commercial or something like that, drop it to me. I guess I got my email. I think my email is in my description somewhere. But I can drop it in the links if you want. But yes, send me commercials or send me a commercial for myself. Like I say, everybody's doing it, so why not? I can infiltrate all y'all's commercials in between all of the stuff that we talk about in the phone calls as far as that goes. So everybody else is doing it. I'm gonna try it too. Why not? I got more bandwidth now. I'm gonna test to fail this sucker.
Oh well, yeah, go for it. But like I said, if you need stuff like that, like I'm like the SME when it comes to like streaming bandwidth and stuff like that. I've been doing this for years. You can either get with me or Iceburn, or you can also get with Space Pirate Ivan. They're really good at this stuff. Pastor Shadowley, he also knows this stuff quite a bit. Yep,
he's the one that helped me in the first place with a lot of the software and the internet stuff that I need to do. So, yep, I'm getting better all the time.
Yeah, it's easy. Like, it's ridiculously easy nowadays. But anyways, Laura, hope you have an awesome show. And I'll probably call back a little bit later if the show gets a little too slow, right?
Oh, okay, that's fantastic. Thanks for calling.
No problem. Right,
appreciate
bye-bye.
it. Goodbye. All right, make sure you check out 2 Minutes to Midnight on Saturday nights on Odysee. Great guy. All right, where were we here? Let's see here. Okay, next thing. Of course, like I say, we were talking about Thomas Sowell, and he basically gives us an idea. This is one of the things. This is actually one of the things that changed him from a Marxist and trusting the government completely into the conservative he is now. I mean, that's amazing. The best part about it is at that point he was smart enough and educated enough to think, hey. And that's the reason. That's another reason for a lot of this stuff too. They've dumbed down a lot of people. I think on the last show I showed you one of the guys from TikTok who goes around and asks the Generation Z, how many stars are on the flag? How many states are in our United States? What's a country? And they have no clue. This is stuff that you learned in the fucking second grade, for crying out loud. So they don't know any of that stuff. Okay, let's see. What are we talking about in the... Oh, Crack Galactica, welcome to the show. One of our badass meme lords. And I believe you have a show now too, don't you? DJs or something like that. You just... In fact, congratulations on 2K followers on your Rumble. I'm actually on Rumble too, but I couldn't get it to work this time, so I'm not going to mess with it. I'm not going to waste y'all's time. I'll work on it. In fact, I've got all day tomorrow to work on it. I might do a live stream tomorrow just so that I can test it out and get it to work again if I can. Come say hi to this turd. Mobile, Twitter, oh, okay. Yeah, go if you're on Twitter, you can go say hello to Crack Galactica. I don't do Twitter. Hello, sweet Rosa. Welcome to the show. Hallie, how are you doing today? Hi, everyone. How are you guys doing tonight? I'm doing fantastic. All right, we're talking about reasons why we shouldn't trust the government. One of them, of course, like I say, one of the most intelligent men that I've ever listened to, other than my father and people like that, and Pastor Shadley and other things like that. But Thomas Sowell has always been on the top of my list for very smart people. Larry Elder is another person that's extremely smart. I used to like Krauthammer. He was pretty smart, even though he was a part of the machine. He always seemed to make sense. So what can I tell you? And I like smartness. I'm married. Don't tell him I said this, but I think I'm married to a genius. He's when it comes to practical things, well, I don't really expect him to know how to cook and all that other stuff too. Although with his creative as he is with his electronics, I'm surprised he can't concoct more things in the kitchen. But that's okay. We have an agreement. But like I say, I think my husband is a genius, and I absolutely adore sitting here talking to him about different stuff. And I understand a lot of the stuff that he's talking about too. So, not that I studied any of it, but he's a very good teacher. He is a good explainer as far as that goes too. So, explainer, if that's a word. All right, time for some levity. I saw this on actually, no, it's not time for levity yet. Excuse me. The next subject was, I got ahead of myself here. Why we shouldn't be trusting what the government's been telling us, especially now. My dad has always told me the truth will always out. It's sad that it's taken 2 years and over 1 million lives, with more to come, I'm sure. But we're starting to get the truth about these vaccinations, which I've read somewhere and I've heard from somewhere that it's been secretly and quietly, especially since our main institutions with the specialists and everything are coming out with all of this stuff, that we can actually talk about the efficacy of this thing again now on YouTube. But if they kick me off, you know why, whatever. It doesn't bother me because I'm on Rumble now. Yeah, and I'm going to get it to work. This actually surprised me too. This came originally from the California Political Review, and it was ethically unjustifiable. Scientists from Harvard and Johns Hopkins found COVID-19 vaccines 98, that's almost 100%, 100 times worse than the virus itself. We knew it. Fauci and his accomplices lied to us. Of course, if you're talking government entity, you can pretty much guarantee that if they tell you something, it's going to be the exact opposite. And now we're finally finding out after they censored everyone and jailed a lot of doctors or cut them off from communicating and stuff like that, that knew that this was not the case. Especially those oncologists and people that were actually treating cancer and stuff like that with some of these drugs that would have helped throughout this time. So yeah, a new preprint study. Let me see if I can make this bigger. I'm having trouble seeing today. Ah, yes. Getting old ain't for sissies. All right. A new preprint study by 9 health experts from major universities showed that the COVID-19 vaccines are 98 times worse than the virus. The mandatory booster vaccination in college is ethically unjustifiable, as reported by Epoch Times. Oh, okay. This was a synopsis. Okay, I had it mixed up, but I actually have the Epoch Times article as well. The study was posted on the Social Science Research Network in September, titled COVID-19 Vaccine Booster for Young Adults, a Risk-Benefit Assessment, and 5 Ethical Arguments Against Mandates at Universities. They should be against mandates, period. Hopefully this will set some kind of a precedent. But I'll go to the Epoch Times. Unethical and up to 98 times worse than the disease, top scientists published paradigm-shifting study about COVID-19 boosters for young adults. Now we're finding out they pushed this on us for 2 years, and actually I'm still hearing adamant commercials on radio when I actually get a chance to listen to something other than YouTube and making my own stuff and everything like that. Every once in a while it's hard to get away from it, especially if I don't have like that satellite radio or whatever like that. I'm not in my car enough. But like I say, we're finding out again, another reason why we should have never trusted them with this to begin with. I don't care who put it out there. You know, at that point in particular time and everything like that, I was not on Trump's side about that either. I've been alive long enough to know that it takes almost 10 years, if not more, to study actual vaccinations. Now, whatever it is that they've been giving us that they're claiming are vaccinations seem to have been in the works for a long time. And it almost seems like as if that they came up with all of this just so that they could test it on all of us. We have a modern day Mengele, if you will, when it comes down to it. If you wanna have any kind of way to know what we're talking about, or you know, any way to compare the two. A team of experts from Harvard, Johns Hopkins, and other top universities has published paradigm-shifting research about the efficacy and safety of the COVID-19 vaccines and why mandating vaccines for college students is unethical. Mandating it for anybody was unethical, not to mention against the Constitution. This 50-page study, which was published on the Social Science Research Network, and I actually have a copy of that too. If you'd like the link to it, I can give you that. At the end of August, analyzed Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, and industry-sponsored data on vaccine adverse events, and concluded that mandates for COVID-19 boosters for young people may cause 18 to 98 actual serious adverse events for each COVID-19 infection-related hospitalization theoretically prevented. Trouble with the eyes today. Let's see. The paper was co-authored by Dr. Stefan Baral, an epidemiologist professor at Johns Hopkins University, Dr. Martin Del-McCurry, a surgeon and professor at Johns Hopkins, known for his books exposing medical malfeasance, including Unaccountable, What Hospitals Won't Tell You, and How Transparency Can Revolutionize Healthcare. And actually, I'm wondering, I don't know when he wrote that, I haven't written that, but I actually have seen videos of nurses that have come out and been told not to report anything whatsoever having to do with vaccine deaths, or what they call the SADS, the sudden adult death syndrome, or whatever it is, which is, it's funny how they can make that shit up at the snap of a finger when something like that happens, rather than just studying it and bringing out the actual facts. And of course, I think it was Salty. It might have been somebody else that covered. There was actually 2 more very, very young athletes that just kind of went on the court or on wherever they were playing sports or whatever it is. So yeah, just another reason to not trust, especially now that we actually know, and it's been actually studied by actual experts that are like, right, that teach this stuff, that know this stuff, that actually sound like they ring the bell on some of these guys, especially with that one book. But yeah, the hospitals, it's another thing, and I guess you can attribute all of it back to money. Because it's another thing, because of course we're finding out also too now that hospitals have allowed patients to perish and have actually caused patients to perish because they're getting paid for that to happen. They actually, in fact, I was talking to one of the doctors when my husband was in the hospital with this, was actually honest enough to let us know that the doctors really don't have any control over this stuff anymore. It's not the doctors that are dictating these prescriptions and these treatments and all of this other stuff, especially if you're like on Medicare. It's the government. In fact, they almost ended my husband by going against their own governmental rule as far as that goes, especially with him being on Medicare. He hadn't been diagnosed, but when they wanted to move him to this other hospital, which I think that they wanted to move him because they would have let him die there. But according to the Medicare law here, he hadn't been diagnosed with the disease for long enough for them to have moved him anywhere. And they wanted to move him to some long-term care something or other. He'd only been in the hospital for 9 days. Long-term doesn't start for 90. I've read that myself. That's something that actually is a rule. It might be 30 if they know, but usually the government never acts that fast when it comes to that stuff. So, and he is on Medicare. He's old enough to be on Medicare. So, here, I'm going to give you the study. I'm gonna put the link to the actual study that came from these guys at Johns Hopkins. I don't know if I can do that in the YouTube, but I try. Oh yeah, it goes in my YouTube. Oh, that's odd. How come you can't do that in other people's YouTube? I guess there must be a setting that I'm missing somewhere that you can or can't do that. All right, now time for a little levity. Tell me who you think this kid reminds you of. See if I make sure I got the sound up. This kid right here. He's going places. He's going to go places. Listen to what he has to say.
You know what really irks me? How women get to smell like actual things, like vanilla or lavender. But men have to smell like concepts. Like, what's Apollo or Wolfthorn? What the heck does Cool Sport Rush smell like?
I always wondered that too. Cool Sport Rush. Actually, when I think about Cool Sport Rush, I think about sweaty men and bashing on each other. I don't think that would smell that great. In fact, they do take showers after the games for a reason. So yeah, this kid's going places. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. But who does he remind you of? Who does he remind you of? I'm going to see what you guys say in the chats here. Tell me who he reminds you of, then I'll tell him. And then I'll tell you who he reminds me of. Okay, open in a new window. What are we looking at here? Weird way to say you got pounded in the fifth point of contact of your boyfriend. 12 miles. Okay, you guys are nasty. That was for somebody else, evidently. He put it in my chat, though, so... Yep, Hallie got it. Sergeant Tripod, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Of course, again, don't forget, if you like to see me grow even more, like I say, I'm on Rumble, but for some reason I couldn't get Rumble to work. I'll do it, instead of doing it 5 minutes beforehand, next time I'll do it like 30 minutes beforehand, so I know that I got everything working. Sometimes I rush myself. So Sergeant Tripods, this kid reminds you of yourself? Okay, Ben Shapiro, that's what Tyler Zed said. He actually isn't wrong. In fact, before he even said, I did see this on his show, and before he even said that, I thought, oh, is that Ben Shapiro's little kid? Because they've got to be pretty old. You know, they got to be above toddlers by now, because when he first started his show, when I first started watching his show, it was almost 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, and they were toddlers then, so they've got to be at least 7 or 8 by now. So that's about that kid's age right there. Sweet Rosa, is that the link to an article? Actually, that is the link to the study that the doctors at Johns Hopkins and what was it? Johns Hopkins and Harvard, experts from Johns Hopkins and Harvard did the study on the jab and have come to the conclusion that it's almost 100 times worse than just the ailment itself, which that seems to be the case with everything doctors these days. In fact, I've been noticing that kind of thing happening since they started advertising prescriptions and stuff like that on commercials and TV and stuff like that. It's like they give you this big ass long list of things that actually might happen to you if you take this, because they have to do the disclaimers by law. And you see this long list of things, and after about the third or fourth commercial, I basically said to myself, hell, for some of these ailments, I'd rather have the ailment. I mean, who wants to walk around with... it used to boggle my mind, too, because they would say you could get constipation and diarrhea. Really? How does that work? That just... Okay. Things like that. Things like that there. So yeah, that's a PDF. I think it said there was about 50 pages. Yeah, if you want to check out the study that they are coming out with. And like I say, the CDC and even YouTube has quietly said that it's okay to talk about the efficacy of this stuff now, supposedly. We'll see if that's actually true, because I'm sure it'll take them 2 days, but then they'll delete this particular thing, which I don't care. I don't care. I'm hoping to phase out YouTube eventually. I've had too many people kicked off of it, and actually, aside from a few of the comedy people, I watch most of the people that do all the news and everything like that on either Odysee. Yeah, Odysee. If I can find them, if they're there. Let's see. Last April, the NIH admitted it. Yes, it did. Toast. Demon Goddess, welcome to the show. Here's a video that Loyal9 did about medical corruption. Okay. I guess people can watch that later. Welcome to the show, KC117. I was reminded of it with what was being discussed. Oh, okay, great. Okay, so yeah, that kid reminded you of you, Sergeant Tripod. Yeah, it definitely reminded me of Ben Shapiro. I thought that's for sure. But it's actually on a TikTok by the name of House of Highlight. So I would venture to say that if Ben Shapiro had a TikTok, it would be under his name or something like that. Not to mention the fact that he doesn't show his kids off to the public. In fact, I think he doesn't even allow them to have like iPads or anything like that. So yeah, he's kind of old-fashioned when it comes to all of that stuff. But he's one that doesn't. He refuses to expose his kids. And actually, I got to be honest with you, I can't say as I blame him, especially with as much flack as he gets. In fact, I read somewhere that they finally they went nuts about him showing up at the podcasters convention or whatever it is over here in Dallas or whatever it was, or Fort Worth or wherever it was, or Austin. It was here in Texas somewhere, I think. and his company had a booth there, which they paid for and all of that. They offered it to them and everything like that. And he showed up and took some pictures. And one person complained to the committee for that particular convention, and they went nuts. Oh, Ben Shapiro was so dangerous and all that other and everything like that. What is he, 5'3"? I tower over him. But I think from all the pictures and everything, he was just standing there. A lot of people were shaking his hand, and he was just there and everything like that. That brought a lot of people to the booth, which is the point. But I read somewhere now that they've had to apologize to Ben Shapiro for all the hubbub, because I'm not real sure why. It might have been the backlash from the other side as far as that goes, which would have been well deserved as far as that goes. Which I'm glad if that's the case. I'm glad to see that.
Go on.
Oh, didn't mean to do that. All right, back to the topic. Now, we were talking about earlier why, again, politicians don't need to be trusted. Well, here's a perfect example here. Now, this is the Gateway Pundit, but they're actually reporting on CNN catching this. CNN points out how ridiculous Joe Biden looks for taking a victory lap on inflation while the stock market tanks because of inflation video. And actually, it couldn't have been better. And you can't make this up, and there's no getting away with this either. The August inflation report was hotter than expected. Inflation rose by 1%, 0.1% in August, even though gas prices dropped. That's the gas prices are only dropping because he's using our reserves all up to try and make the gas prices go down. Nothing else is going down, though. It's not really helping. The inflation is a whole conglomeration, not to mention the fact that gas prices aren't going down that much. So, believe me, I have to buy gas every week because I drive pretty far to my job. So, the Dow Jones tumbled more than 1,200 points. Now, the article is fun and everything like that, and it explains it and everything like that, but there's nothing better than video when it comes to this stuff. Let's see if I can make this big enough for you to see it. It's too big. Wish they had... Oh, let me see if this works. Oh, there we go. Da zoom. Da zoom, zoom, zoom. Da zoom, zoom, zoom. All right. I want you to... this is commentary coming from CNN as they cover him on the White House lawn, talking about how great he is and how great this inflation thing is.
To President Biden at the White House, he's celebrating the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act. He says that he's been fighting Big Pharma for decades. But there is this unfortunate split screen right now with the Dow taking a total beating, down more than 1,200 points. And so it feels like it's hard to be celebratory for some people in the crowd.
Feels like? It feels like it's hard to be celebratory? There's nothing to celebrate here. The man has dementia, and Jimmy Dore will even tell you that. There's no celebrating. Not to mention the fact, these people don't want you to celebrate. Suit Cooter says, it's gotten so bad that even CNN can't keep protecting Joe. Yeah, I was going to say, there's no way. In fact, they called it unfortunate screen split. No, that's what's happening. It's unfortunate for Joe Biden at the moment because it makes him look like the complete fool that he is and has been his entire life. Not to mention the liar he's been his entire life. Oh, okay. Salty, excuse me, Sparky the Welder says he's 5'9". I'm still taller than him. Way taller than him. He was standing there menacingly. Yeah. Now, I'm not a big Shapiro fan. He gets a little arrogant to me. He's a smart guy as far as that goes. I appreciate the fact that he sticks with and is a orthodox to his religion as far as that goes. He doesn't cheat or do anything. He's very religious as far as that goes. Kudos to him that he started his own program and everything that's competing with the mainstream and everything like that as far as that goes. And again, it seems like he's broken off a piece of culture for himself. They got the movies going on and everything like that. I kind of sort of stopped watching him when he started going on Fox News a lot. I understand purpose was to eyeballs. I mean, they are running a business. They do have to get people watching their shows. Otherwise, they wouldn't be bigger than these other companies. But at the same time, Fox, really? In fact, it didn't even seem like you really needed Fox because, you were doing fine with that already as it was. And of course, I see also too, I love Candace Owens, but I noticed that she's a commentator on Fox sometimes too. They call her up quite often. She ends up being on Tucker Carlson's. I guess I can give it semi of a pass, although I don't listen to him that much either. I'm not into the mainstream has been a persona non grata to me for a long time. I saw a lot of this stuff a long time ago. Plus, I was also so busy. Why worry about that stuff? So I actually have trouble believing that anyone can look at that video or see that video and think, we're losing, but we're winning. Or which one is right? Because, nobody trusts either one of those two. So which one is actually right? Was CNN right? Or was the president right there? You got two liars talking about two different things. Is one of them right or neither of them right? Can't trust either one of them in that case, huh? What do we do? I actually have always thought that it was pretty lame to continue to profess success when you're proven to be a failure. That he's one of the lamest people on the planet as far as I'm concerned. To me. But yeah, I really don't trust either one of these. I'm pretty sure that the Dow was down like that. In fact, a lot of people are talking about it. And usually, I don't know if they cook the numbers on that kind of stuff or not. Again, who trusts these people? Ever. And again, it's not just our leaders, if you want to call them that. They've never led me anywhere but to the poorhouse. But have you ever wondered why the mainstream works so terribly hard to get eyeballs and clicks on their own programming? And maybe that's the reason why Fox News had Ben Shapiro on and Candace Owens on, because they're trying to get eyeballs on their programming as well. But they also try to censor anything and anyone that's not them. So the other day I was watching Paul Joseph Watson, and he actually came up with this was actually one of the things that came up after I listened to 451 Actual and had the idea for why a lot of this stuff is going on. And this just happened to come up. It's like the Lord leads me to all of this stuff, and it's like, oh, well, here you go. So listen to what he says, and then I'll go and show you the studies on this one too.
Screens. What happens when your face is glued to a screen? Studies show that watching television, particularly fictional shows like soap operas, puts the brain in a highly suggestible state where the information is directly downloaded to the subconscious. Screen flicker lowers the brain into a borderline hypnotic alpha state, where beliefs can easily be altered and new beliefs formed. The process shuts down the analytical, logical part of your brain, the left side, and moves the focus to the right side, producing an emotional response to stimulus where the brain doesn't conduct critical analysis of the incoming information.
It figures it would be something like this.
The alpha state is more akin to daydreaming or being on the verge of sleep, which is why you often fall asleep while you're watching television. So if you're reading a newspaper article or hearing a news report on the radio, your analytical mind is on high alert. But when you're slobbed out on your sofa watching Coronation Street or EastEnders, the incoming info just washes through your brain.
It can be dangerous.
Your analytical mind goes AWOL and you're transfixed with suspended disbelief. EEG studies which detect electrical activity in the brain have found that the higher functioning levels of the brain, like the neocortex we use for analysis and reasoning, go offline when we zombie out in front of the screen. This passively absorbed information then becomes part of your long-term memory pool without you even really knowing it. And this isn't wacko conspiracy stuff, it's the conclusion of numerous scientific peer-reviewed studies, including a study by academics at Tohoku University in Japan. Discussing the study, neurologist Adam Lipson noted how EEG studies demonstrate that television watching converts the brain from beta wave activity to alpha waves, which are associated with a daydreaming state and a reduced use of critical thinking skills. Eric.
So, that answers that question. In fact, like I say, this is the reason why we see them fighting tooth and nail to eliminate people like Steven Crowder and Ben Shapiro and Annie Indy. In fact, they've even been trying to work on Joe Rogan. You've seen it. In fact, I think his first mistake was actually signing the contract to go into Spotify, because what was the first thing they started doing to him? They started censoring him. He even said, well, I don't care. They can take a couple of my shows off and everything like that. So, yeah, I don't even trust him anymore. But this is why. They know this stuff happens. In fact, they make fun of communications degrees now because it's really kind of sort of not necessary if you think about it. When I actually took my communications classes and everything like that, they still used VHS tapes and stuff like that, and a lot of that was learning how to switch from one screen to the other, and you had these huge consoles. You don't have that anymore. It's all on the computer. Click of a couple of mouses and you can do all of this stuff. Hence me doing this, of course. But one of the other things that we learned in the communications department and everything like that was advertising and how advertising works. And one of the things that they found psychologically was that you don't remember something. Like if you're, like you said, if you were in a radio, or you're listening to the radio, or you're watching TV, or you're not watching the TV, you're just listening to the TV, your brain becomes analytical. But when you're just sitting there, gobbing out or whatever like that, you're more, but you still have this sociology where you have to hear something 7 times before it actually starts to resonate with you, and you start remembering it and starts to coming to mind. When you're hungry, or when you want some products or stuff like that. That's the reason why you see commercials over and over and over and over. And in fact, I'm actually starting to notice that on YouTube. When I watch things on YouTube, the exact same commercial comes on the entire show, some of the entire show sometimes. Or I'll watch 2 or 3 different things, and that same commercial will come on trying to sell me stuff. In fact, they've even started selling, what was it that boggled my mind? The laundry soap. Really? So YouTube is now becoming soap opera central, because that's actually what they used to sell, supposedly, housewives and all that other. But Tohoku University, not only did they do a study on what Paul Joseph Watson was just talking to you about just now. Did all of these get big? Yeah, they did. But they also did a study on what happens to smaller children when you allow the television to be their babysitter. The impact of television viewing on brain structures, cross-sectional and longitudinal analysis. Hikaru Takeshi, I'm not going to name all those names. There's no way I can do that. But their overview, their abstract says, television viewing is known to affect children's verbal abilities and other physical, cognitive, and emotional development in psychological studies. However, the brain structure development associated with TV viewing has never been investigated. We examine cross-sectional correlations between the duration of TV viewing and regional gray-white matter volume among 133 boys and 143 girls, as well as correlations between the duration of TV viewing and longitudinal changes that occurred a few years later among 111 boys and 105 girls. So this stuff is everlasting, especially in boys and girls. This was I think this was the one on the, okay. Yeah, they started out with the one on the children, and then after correcting for confounding factors, we found positive effects of TV viewing on RGMV of the front polar and medial prefrontal areas in cross-sectional and longitudinal analysis. Positive effects of TV viewing. Oh, they had the same sentence twice there, it looks like. The positive effects on the hypothalamus and septum, sensory motor areas. But actually, eventually, like I say, well, my parents always called it the boob tube. But there was always some stupid shit on there, too. In fact, they grew up with things like What's My Line and silliness like the Marx Brothers and what's the other one? The Three Stooges and things like that. So, yeah, that was kind of boobish if you think about it. But, again, they don't call it programming for nothing. Oh, Lord Slade, how are you? Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here tonight. Don't forget, if you want to help me grow bigger, grow better, like I say, thank you all once again for allowing me to afford the 1K. I'm actually surprised that AT&T didn't bug the shit out of me until I bought it from them. I had to go chasing after them for that stuff. And I know that I've got fiber optic. In fact, speaking of that, I wanted to show you guys this because the guy that came and installed it for us and everything like that gave me a piece of the fiber optic wire, the inside actually of the wire that they put in those big tube wires and everything like that goes in here. Let me go back to the screen where I'm big here. See how easily I get distracted. This is amazing though. Because this right here, this little, you can see the thick part here. But can you see that little tip on the end there? Let's see. Is it there? I can barely see it myself. Let's see if this helps. You see the tip on the end? You see how there's this is what up to, they told me this is what up to 10K goes through. I mean, the speed on this thing is amazing. And this is literally, even though it's really cool, even though you can bend it, as long as you don't bend it at a 90-degree angle, that little filament in there, this is actually glass. It's actually glass, but it's like a wire. Amazing, amazing. Used to be you could only bend glass like that if you put it in a hot fire. But not a hot enough fire. There wouldn't be a hot enough fire to bend I-beams. Wink, wink. So amazing, amazing. Like I say, you see now why I was so excited about it, because that kind of technology, I'm a boomer, I guess you could say. I'm actually not. I'm an Xer. Don't get it twisted. Let's see. Sparky the Welder says, my parents didn't let us watch TV at all when I was a kid. Only the old movies on VHS sometimes. Actually, to be honest with you, the only thing that I actually was even interested in watching as a kid was cartoons. Saturday morning cartoons. The rest of the time we were out smashing, riding bikes and sloshing in the mud and climbing trees. Doing chores sometimes. In fact, our parents, I was of the generation where our parents locked us out of the house all summer long. They didn't even know where we were most of the time. Let's see. Sergeant Tripod says, the check your zip code freaking commercial always on late in the evening. Yeah, I hate commercials too. Now, I understand them, and it would be okay if they weren't so damn stupid sometimes. I don't know who makes the commercials up now. It's really kind of strange, too, because even Biden talks about what's in the commercials these days. So it makes me wonder how much television he actually watches. And to be honest with you, as the president, you shouldn't have any time to be watching anything. You should be working. Maybe at night, Johnny Carson or something like that at night, or a talk show at night or something at night. Although me, I always put on my white noise. I don't like not having noise when I fall asleep. I think it's because of the tinnitus I have from being in the music business all my life. It feels like all my life. DJ B based. I low-key refuse to listen to commercials. It's so triggering to hear them. Yeah, because majority of the stuff that you hear nowadays, especially if you're like us, And on our side of it, it's all either bullshit or shit that we don't need or want. It's got nothing to do with our lives. We wouldn't buy it. We probably wouldn't even use it if someone gave it to us or if they paid us to use it or something like that. So yeah, commercials have been insulting to my intelligence since the early 90s. I enjoyed the 80s commercials. In fact, there was a time when everybody would wait for the Super Bowl just to watch the commercials because they were all so creative and all so cool. But now it's just people twerking and stuff that stuff that I would never even think about needing to use or anything like that. Not to mention, I haven't seen a lot of commercials. I hear them on the radio a lot of times. In fact, this was I did a video once because it just struck me so funny. I heard this commercial. It was a commercial about spa envy. I don't know if anybody knows or has a spa envy out there. Basically, it's I guess you could say it's a poor man's version of going to the spa and getting the massage and doing the facials and all that other stuff. You know, a chain for that kind of thing, if you will. I don't think it was a massage parlor per se, but then again, I never went to any of them. They gave away gift certificates, and they were always telling people to send your mother there. But anyway, this commercial consisted of the mom getting so sunburned that she couldn't even move. And then the idea was to send her to this spa. And I'm thinking to myself, if I'm that sunburned, don't even don't breathe on me. That's the last thing I would want would be a massage if I had that kind of a sunburn. And I thought, how dumb is that? Do people actually go and get massages after they're so burnt that they can't even move? Or is that something that they're trying to get people to do? I mean, who thought that out? Who wrote that? You know, it was like, that made me not want to go to Spa Envy just because the commercial was so stupid. Let's see. Limited access. I read so much as a kid that I had a college level reading level in the 5th grade. Yeah, I was ahead of my time too. I started school, actually I was 4. They wanted to start me early because I was taller than everybody still at that point, even at that point. But also too, had they started me on my birthday, I wouldn't have started school until I was 7 almost. So they started me at 4. I already knew how to read and write, tell time. And I ran circles around those people. But I had a great grandmother that actually taught me all of that stuff from the time I can remember. I can't even remember looking up at her from the crib and she's showing me flashcards and stuff. So, let's see. Let's see. Limited access says these are the asshole things that you might have to take the black tape and fix so you can still play with the tape. Oh, okay. Yeah. I hear you. Who loves you, baby? Demon Goddess. Oh, I miss that guy. Just one more thing. Everybody thought he was a dumbass and everything because of the way he dressed and everything like that, but he got him every time. He kind of, in fact, the person that took over for him, kind of, sort of, was Monk. Anthony Shalhoub. I absolutely loved that character. Shalhoub was a good actor. He's always been a good actor, so. I notice he's not around a whole lot anymore. He must not go along with the mainstream or whatever. Let's see. KC117 says, for most of my childhood, we only had the ABC channel. I remember shows like AFV and Extreme Makeover Home Edition. I also remember watching Seinfeld and a little bit of the Stargate show. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm right there with you. I had to sneak to watch Mork and Mindy as it came on after my bedtime. Let's see. Sergeant Tripod says, I was born in the later 70s. All our movies as a kid came from Blockbuster. Be kind, please rewind. Yeah, I remember those days too. In fact, Star Trek just had their 56th anniversary, and they came out 3 months before I was born. So I grew up on Star Trek too. In fact, my mom loved it. And I never could figure out why I knew so much about it. It was because I've been watching it since I was born. All right. A phone call, which is what we want. You're on the air. Greetings.
All right. Hello. Hopefully I won't cut out this time. I've taken my earphone out and I I can only hear you on the phone, so I can't even hear what the heck I'm saying. Hey, I'm hoping everybody's still preparing and everything.
Oh, indeed.
Oh, good, because today, yesterday I went and I got a good deal on some ground beef, so I went and cooked it up, and I the day before, and I went and processed it in the pressure canner yesterday, and some asparagus. I got some asparagus. I've never pressure canned asparagus, but they turned out beautiful. And
Nice.
then today and yesterday, I've been dehydrating stuff. I'm going to get some more ginger, and I had gotten a bunch of honey on sale at the Target because they were blown out because it crystallized a little bit, and they were blowing it out at a really good price. So I bought a bunch of it, and I told my husband, we're never going to need honey ever again.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw something from one of my gals on the YouTube that does. They've been living off grid forever. Doug and Stacy. I don't know if you guys watch Doug and Stacy. They've been living off grid for like 14 years or whatever, living their log cabin and rainwater and blah blah blah, whatever.
Nice.
Doug and Stacy on YouTube. They're great. She showed us how to take honey and throw some garlic in it, and you make honey and garlic, and it's supposed to be good for colds and stuff. I guess it's got a lot of antibiotics and probiotics and stuff, as well as like ginger. All right, so I threw a bunch of ginger in with some honey today, and I did some lemon honey today, and we got to be thinking about these things for cold season because, you know, as it's getting colder, like it is way up north here, like I'm like way up north of you, I'm already getting like the allergy things going on with the fall changing and whatever, and the sniffles and all that mess. And I'm like, I have to put some stuff away, you know, and some natural stuff away. So if y'all can get some honey, and right now you can get some ginger, this ginger that I just got, I looked at the back of the package. Hey, it comes from Peru. I'm actually growing some ginger too. I actually got some ginger plants to grow this year. I was like, woo!
Neat.
Like, yeah, right?
They're pretty plants.
I'm really happy. They're pretty plants, and I'm really hoping that because I kind of figured out where I can grow them in my place, maybe I can get some more to grow because I love ginger, and ginger is so good for your immune system, and it's good flavor, and it's just a really good plant, and they're not that hard to grow. They need a lot of water. That's the only thing about ginger. They like a lot of water. No problem. But you can actually perpetuate ginger from the ginger that you get at the store if they've got the little eyes on them. And there's a bunch of people out there that have different things on YouTube. But if you just cut off those pieces and cut a decent chunk of those pieces off that have like the little eye that's coming out, and you can see it, the little root thing, and then you put it with some moisture in a darker place and check on them. You know, within a week or two, you can get that to kind of come up, and you can get that to grow. You got to grow it at a certain time of year. You know, usually, you know, it said the fall, but you put them in when it's cooler, and let them kind of be dormant for a little bit in the soil, and then let that soil warm up. You down in Texas should be able to grow them, no problem. Oh, and I got some seeds for you too, girl. I'm going to be sending you some seeds.
Oh, goody. I'm even more excited now.
Good. I got some seeds for you. I've saved a bunch, and then I ended up picking up a bunch. So, I mean, I got some seeds for you, and, you know, Red Dawn Radio and a couple of other people, I didn't get their addresses right. I looked at it, and I went, oh, I didn't quite write that down right. So
well,
they'll
my
have
address,
to contact me.
My address is in the description.
Oh, I got yours right. I looked at it. I got yours down right. Yours is the only one, but you were like, I don't know what I can grow. And I'm like, well, you're just going to have to grow what you can grow in Texas.
I'll try anything.
Tomatoes.
Yes, I would like to do tomatoes. My grandfather was real good at doing tomatoes, and so far I haven't had much luck yet.
Well, here's the thing with tomatoes. Like, all right, so one of the things that I learned recently, and that's really helped me, is I want you to get some, like, aspirin that doesn't have the coating on it.
Right.
Crush them up, and then put a bunch of water in there and boil it, and then put it in, like, a jar in a spray bottle.
Mm-hmm.
When it's cooled down, and when your plants are kind of going and not really flowering, you spray them with that, and it perks up like their immune system, their flowering system, and it's worked for me all season. It will make these plants flower.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It will. It helps, when you spray like that, and then you gotta have your nutrients right too, which is. I'll write you on the other end and let you know some of the nutrients that you need to do, and like the nitrogen and whatever. Or y'all can go to a couple places on YouTube, and there's really good information. But do yourselves a favor before everything goes down, or if it goes down, or some people's channels go down. Write this stuff down. Put it in a book so that you have it in hand. And you can go, okay, well, I tried this, I tried that, and then you could make footnotes and go, well, this didn't work, that didn't work, whatever, and then see what works for you on whatever kind of plants. Anyhow, dehydrate your stuff. I'm dehydrating some. I ended up getting some really nice lemons that. I've tried to do fruit before too with the dehydrator. I mean, I've only got one of those a couple of those little air dehydrator things, and they work good on like, the ginger and the garlic and the onion and stuff like that. But the wet stuff, I haven't had a real good. It hasn't worked real good for me at this point, but I'm trying it again. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I want y'all to think about getting yourself some stuff put together for like cold season and whatnot, because it's coming up, and
Yeah, the best thing about the honey is that the honey is. In fact, my husband and I were discussing this earlier because he does a honey and ginger concoction in the mornings. But the best thing about honey is that it never goes bad.
Yes, ma'am. Never goes bad. Even though the stuff that I bought was slightly crystallized. And what I had to do was I had to take that little thing and I put the little bottle in with some warm water, and I kept heating it up with warm water. I didn't microwave it or anything.
Yeah.
I kept warming it up in warm water, in my sink and in a little bowl, and I stirred it up, chopstick and whatever. And it still was a little bit gritty, but they've got honey from like Egyptian days.
Yep.
That's still good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good, and it's got some kind of antibiotic, probiotic in it that's good for your system. So I mean, and with the ginger's really good for you. Garlic's really good for you. One of the things that I want to try too is because I have a bunch of rosemary growing. And I do still have some decent olive oil. I want to try to infuse something. I've tried it before and it didn't work out real well, but I'm like, well, I must have done something wrong. So that's one of the things that I'm going to try to do too, is try to infuse some olive oil and things like that with some of these medicinal herbs, so that when you're cooking with it, or they used to give us castor oil as kids. Here, take a shot of that. Oh, and by the way, don't forget your prunes and your prune juice.
I'll stick to coffee, thanks.
Yeah, me too.
For now.
Yeah, by the way, coffee coffee does not come from this country.
Nope.
Y'all want your coffee? You better be stocking up on some.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, indeed.
Keep prepping, guys. Love you bunches.
Yes, love you too. Thank you so much for calling. Appreciate you.
All right. Love you bunches.
Keep up the good work. I'll let you know when I get the seeds.
All right. Sounds great.
Thanks so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good night. All right. Of course, if you didn't know who that was a limited access, our prepper. And of course, if you have, let's see, Badass Brad Allen has a prepper rap. He came out with a new genre. He has prepper rap, so make sure you go check him out over at Anger Bang. Let's see, who else we got on here? Talelia, welcome to the show. Let's see. It was an old farmer. Let's see. As a tip from an old guy in Texas that I was given, put an egg, slightly crush it, and plant the tomato. It was an old farmer, so I trust them more than yuppie ladies that have been doing it for 3 years and decided to write a book. Yeah. I've been doing it for 10 years and I haven't written any books. I still don't know what the hell I'm doing. My buddy loves it. In fact, I even went as far as buying one of those ones where it hung upside down. And this plant actually grew to be ginormous, but it never produced anything. In fact, I remember I had it hanging off. I lived upstairs at the time, and I had it hanging off the balcony where I was at, and I literally it grew to the point where I literally had to roll it up 3 times and had to put it up, and it was still growing and everything like that, but not one tomato on it. You remember those hangy things with the tomato grower? Like I say, you see the commercial, and it has all these luscious, beautiful tomatoes growing on it and everything like that. Well, this thing grew and grew and grew and grew. I even roped it up 3 or 4 times. It had to have been at least, when I finished with it, if I was to take a guess, it had to have been at least 20 feet long. But not one tomato. So, I've tried a lot of stuff. I ain't writing no books until I succeed, though. And even then, you may not get one. Let's see, Egyptian honey must be so good. I don't know. Do they have better flowers over there? Better bees than we do? Demon Goddess. The rabbits wild got all of our tomatoes this year. Yeah, I've got a chicken wire everywhere around my plants. Because, well, not only do I have rabitos here, but we've got neighbors sometimes that have goats. And they like to get away. One of them, they moved since then, but we had a neighbor over here beforehand. They had 2 white goats. They were huge. I'd never seen such big big goats before. But I would notice, I'd look out the window in the morning with my coffee, and all of a sudden, this goat would literally stand on one side of the fence, and go boing, and go over to the other side of the fence. It blew my mind. I wish I had caught some video of it, because I've never seen anything like that before in my life, because usually stuff takes a running jump and jumps over the fence. This little sucker would stand next to the fence on his side and just go boing right over the fence. And the fence is about 4.5 feet, something like that. So, yeah, that was crazy. But then he would come over here and eat all my stuff. He ate all my avocado trees that I had been growing for over a year. They were just starting to get big to where I could actually transplant them into the ground. He ate all my rose bushes. He even ate my holly, which I was surprised, because holly's poisonous. Although I didn't mind that, because I hate holly. I don't like the holly. It's hard to trim. It is poisonous, and the leaves are stickers. The leaves hurt. Let's see. Oh, 451 Actual says, lurking and working. Oh, you know what? Listen, I got all distracted, but that's okay. This is y'all's show. This is the whole point for you guys to call in and talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. If you got things to complain about, you want to talk about the things that I were talking about. And of course, this show has been mostly about the inspiration, of course, from 451 Actual I got the other day, with the fact that you just can't really trust the government, and you shouldn't. That's the whole point. That's literally the whole point of the Constitution. The government, in some cases, is a necessary evil, but they should not be in charge of all of our lives. from cradle to grave. Just no. At that point, we're just slaves at that point. So, and of course, what we were talking about before I got the phone call from Limited Access was the studies that the University of Tokyo, Tohoku University, I don't know if they're in Japan, but they did a lot of studies on the effects of television watching or screen watching, which usually television watching. But this is actually, I think, one of the reasons why the mainstream feels so adamant and has been working so hard to get us to not watch anybody else. Because according to a lot of these studies, sitting there zoning out on watching television, especially if you're watching something science fiction or something that's supposed to be entertaining, you know, you're just kicking back, having a little popcorn, having a little drink or whatever like that, and just kind of buzzing out on it and everything like that, they can pretty much put anything into it. And actually, the thing that Paul Joseph Watson was actually talking about and why this is happening and why he looked up why they found this study was because they're actually starting to put this stuff like the BLM and the protests and the all of this junk that they want these kids and people to go along with, this woke crap, in soap operas. And he was talking about the BBC, that this one soap opera that they're talking about has been an established soap opera and almost an English way of life for 40 years now or something like that. So, but yeah, you know, you sit and you slog off and this is supposed to be entertaining, and all of a sudden you get all this woke stuff coming at you. All right, another phone call. Like I say, this show is for you. Greetings, you're on the air.
Hello there, how are you?
Hi.
This is Demon Goddess.
Oh, hello, DG. Thank you for calling.
Hello. Yes, indeed. I wanted to call because you were discussing earlier about, like, the, you know, with the television and the brain activity and everything.
Right.
There's actually a lot to be said, too, for putting children in front of the television when they're too young because their eyes have not actually fully developed seeing yet. Because when children are born, they see upside down until the brain figures that shit out. And so, like, they're still trying to figure everything out. And when you put them in front of a television, they also can see the frame relay. And so putting it on and them seeing the individual pictures as opposed to it being smooth, it will actually create some forms of, like, ADD because the brain's trying to catch every image and make sense of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it will actually make their brain, like, have an attention deficit because it won't focus on one thing. But, like, if you put them in front of a fish tank, they'll pick out one fish and they'll follow it back and forth and back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually really good to have a fish tank in a children's room because it'll actually increase their focus. But televisions are really bad because it makes it so that their brain doesn't focus on a single image, and it actually makes them keep trying to make sense and make sense and make sense. So, like, it actually creates a problem.
So it's almost too much for them all at once. It's almost like it's too much for them all at once. Yeah, I get it.
Indeed.
I get it. In fact,
the overfired.
The one study that I had pulled up also too, because the one study I pulled up from Paul Joseph Watson, but I went ahead to the university and they pulled up another one. They'd done a study as far as excessive television watching for children. It actually changes their brain structure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's probably where the ADHD and stuff comes from. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, it's a combination of a bunch of things because that's not what you're supposed to be doing, you know? And I think that on top of the fact that they really try to remove the child from the mother as fast as they can in a hospital,
yeah.
You know, there's a lot to be said for that right away is that there's just this constant disconnect. Because the whole thing is they know as soon as you're capable of actually connecting with yourself and with others around you and with nature itself, they can't take it. They can't take that from you. But if they've got you all separated, you don't even know you have a soul, and so they can let you. They trick you into selling it because you didn't know you had one. And it all starts with not being able to pay attention to a single moment because it's your moments that give you that. All your moments make up your life. And if you're too busy being distracted, you don't get your moments. And then that's why people go, "Oh, I feel like it's just going by so fast." It's because they're not paying attention. They're not actually conscious. They're just kind of flung around like a pinball, and they don't actually pay attention. And part of it is that they've just been inundated with all this stuff that why they don't know how to pay attention. You know, it's on purpose, because as soon as you pay attention, you go, wait, what a minute? You know, even when you watch commercials, like you were saying, they're stupid, but people don't pay attention because it puts them in a low brainwave. So, like, you know, you watch those commercials, has this ever happened to you? And I'm like, no, because I'm not fucking retarded, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been able
like,
to... I've never been able to associate with any of those commercials either. Has this ever happened to you? Stuff. It's like, yeah, no. In fact, I love the jokes about it, like when you watch Family Guy and stuff like that. They make jokes about it.
I mean, I'm grateful for the jokes for sure, but like it just shows that they're not actually paying attention. Like I mute. I don't even watch. I get so weirded out by commercials because I've actually escaped them for so long now that when they come on, I like start twitching and get like a little itchy, and I'm like, oh my god, turn it off. But like I used to just, when it was something where, like, you know, before I would watch TV and shit like on the internet, I would mute commercials because fuck that. Like I don't want to hear it. You know?
Yeah.
So most of the time I would mock them while they were on too.
Yeah, I think it's, like I say, I think also too, a lot of these commercials, especially with a lot of the people that hang out in the pond and the people like us and everything like that, we're above the commercials. They're not advertising anything to us that we would really want or would buy anyway. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we weren't consumers. We weren't like, you know, creatures like us who would run around the woods and go play. Like, we're not consumers. We're minimalist on most levels.
Right.
Everything that we own has so much value to us. It isn't just stuff. You know, like, we don't have stuff. We have things that matter to us.
Yeah, and we're not trying to impress people that we don't like either.
Oh, goodness, no. Goodness, no. And we'd rather just impress ourselves first and find others who impress us, because then we grow from them. Like, we choose people who are better than us on purpose because we're looking for something to grow towards. That's what love really is always looking to be better self by those who are around you, who you wish to keep continuing the company of, so you yourself continue to improve. Otherwise, you lose that company. And so if you want to stay in their company, you know, as Pastor says, do not engage in intellectual faggotry, and you can stay. So, yeah, I mean, I genuinely think this is what's so beautiful about this time that we're in, is that it's always darkest before it's light, and we tend to lose our steam when we're looking at the finish line because we're like, oh, my God. But at the same time, like, we really are. We're right here, and, like, just if we keep pushing forward, we see all their lives. You know, we've cut them all out. You know, we fucking make memes of them crying, you know?
Yeah.
So it's you know, this is a battle, and it didn't get this way overnight, so it wasn't going to take overnight to get it out.
Indeed.
And there were so many people who didn't see because they were programmed, and they are fucking waking up. And like, the one thing I can say is that life will always find a way, and the human spirit is fucking engaging. And so when it is something where we come together, we're unstoppable. I mean, for crying out loud, look at us. Like, how many are we, and how grand? Like, it's amazing. You can go from your chat room, pop over to the pond, and be like, yo, motherfucker, we. You know, like, this is incredible. Like, it's unfucking stoppable. And if they take it down, we'll put it the fuck back up, because we're the intelligent ones who put it there to begin with, not fucking them.
Right.
So as soon as everyone who actually produces and people who actually realize that they're worth a damn stop letting the fucking weak feast on them, it's going to be a better time, and that's where we're heading. No more fucking feasting. We pick the ticks off and we burn them alive. Allegedly, and metaphorically, FBI assholes.
What did they call it in what's that game? my nephews play it.
I don't know. What is it?
Minecraft. In Minecraft.
Oh yes, in Minecraft, yes. Oh,
allegedly,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, allegedly, yes. Allegedly in Minecraft. Oh, indeed, that's right. You pick them off and you fucking light them on fire in Minecraft. So.
Well, you're allowed to kill ticks. I pull them off my animals all the time.
That's what I'm saying. And possum are awesome for eating ticks. They're the bomb.
Yep, I feed our possums out here all the time. I hope they continue to eat ticks.
Yeah.
They're getting pretty fat.
I've heard too. I've seen footage where they're the ones that sit in the forest and take the ticks off everything else. So like deer will come around and they'll like pick the ticks off the deer, and they do it for the raccoons and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Neat.
Yeah, and they're so fucking cute. I love them.
They like to steal my cat's food.
Well, everything likes cat and dog food, I've noticed. Like, that seems to be a goody yum-yum for them. You know, like, I throw out dog food for the crows. They fucking love it.
Well, now I've seen crows actually steal eggs from other birds all around
yeah.
here. In fact, our guinea hens have diminished because of the crows around here.
It's good eating. Everything likes eggs.
Yep.
It's good times.
I'd rather
I know
have the guinea
sometimes,
hens
too,
though,
like,
because they eat ticks and bugs and stuff too. In fact, they'll eat all of that
fair
stuff.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair on. Chickens are good for ticks. That's a valid point. I always forget that, but yeah, that's very true. Yeah, yeah. I know sometimes we get them real nasty because here in Massachusetts, like legit, that's where they basically weaponized the Lyme, around here, fucking with them, their ticks. It used to be that you only got a tick if you were like way out in the middle of chucklefuck nowhere. That's why they called them deer tick, because you had to be way out in the middle of chucklefuck nowhere, like a goddamn deer, to get them.
Yeah.
But now they're like, hey, I'm like in your house. What's going on? And I'm like, you fuck. And just, yeah, I don't like them. They piss me off. Most other things I give a pass to. Nope, those motherfuckers, I pull them off and grab them with my pliers and I burn them till they pop, because fuck that noise.
Yeah, I have a girlfriend that actually caught the Lyme disease. She actually got it in Germany. She has a something out there in the fjords out there, and she got bit by a tick out there, and now she's got the Lyme disease. It really isn't. It's kind of serious actually, and it's.
I know. Well, the worst part is that like they end up thinking that it's one thing or another thing, and they don't just like run a test right away when it starts looking like stuff, because it looks like a bunch of other things. And
right.
Sometimes people just go, "Oh, you're fucking lazy," and it's like, well, no, they can't move because like shit's just kind of messed up and like really fucked up with dogs. Like it's really sad watching dogs get Lyme, because that stuff can come and go. But if you catch it fast enough, you can do a lot about it. The problem is that by the time you realize there's an issue, it's already too fucking late. So it's like, yeah,
that's
it's nasty, and it's not even the only thing they can give you. It's just one of the ones where everyone goes, oh my goodness. But yeah, they carry all kinds of fun fucking things, and it's different ones too. So you get a little chart, and they're like, hey, if you get bit by this one, you better go see someone. So yeah, I mean, thankfully, the dog I have now, she's very light and little, and her fur is short, so I can find them rather quickly before they even do anything to her. But my last girl, she was like this gorgeous purebred black lab, Canadian black lab, and she was fucking gorgeous, but her fur was like so dense and like it was pitch black, and it was like pain in the ass to look for ticks. And sometimes I'm like, I felt so bad because I'd find them and they'd clearly been on her for a minute because they were swelled, and I'm like, fuck, dude.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's sad, and they're like so gross to get off once they get in there, because you got to get them right and blah 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 blah. Yeah, they're nasty. But that's how I feel about people who feast on others. They need to be ripped off and fucking burned alive, because that's how nasty they be. See, so in Minecraft.
Yep.
So yeah, I know. Ugh. Whew, getting there. Yeah, I mean metaphorically, anyways, because obviously that's not nice. But if you know what though, if it becomes a zombie apocalypse, I'm taking a tank down the street, and then I'm fine, like right behind that. After they're all good, I'm just flamethrower from KIR ammo that just clean up the streets, and then you can just go through with a push broom for ashes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, well, I shall let you be, my love. Thank you very much for this, and always, you're beautiful.
Well, thanks for calling. I appreciate it. That's, like I say, this show is for everybody out there. That's what I do it for. So yes,
that's why I called in.
I appreciate the calls. That's exactly what I want.
Yeah, I give you what you want, baby. You know that. You come to me, baby. I'll give you everything you need.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Thanks for calling. Good night.
Good night.
All right. Yeah, stay away from them ticks. In fact, there's quite a few people out there that act like ticks nowadays, don't they? But yes, like I say, this is another reason why we can't trust them, because they are after our brains as well. And if they, and it's like she said, if they can decentralize you, destabilize you to the point where you don't have any connections, they'll be your connection, and then they can pretty much make you do anything they want to. You almost become a sleeper agent at that point, or something like that. And actually, I think that might be one of the reasons why it's so easy now for some kids to send their parents to jail, call the CPS on them or whatever like that. Hell, even some kids shoot their own parents and abuse their own parents and things like that. They don't have any respect for them or anything like that. And a lot of it is because of this. They don't have any connection to them. They don't realize that parent is there for their well-being. In most cases. Yeah, there are some shitty parents out there. Okay, here's another reason why probably people are not trusting our powers that be and our government. Las Vegas, now I think you guys have heard about this story, and I think even Salty covered this. Las Vegas official accused of killing a reporter will remain in office and still get paid. All right, so what can I tell you? Let's see, where am I? Oh, okay. Actually, to finish off the last thing with the TV and everything like that, especially the TV and everything like that, these folks don't really care about you. All right? No matter how much they profess how good these things are for you. Oh, you've never seen anything like it in your life. It's going to take away all your pains. It's going to take away all your troubles. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. You're going to have this, and everybody's going to impress. None of that shit matters. In fact, they don't really care if you can even use the products or not. They just care that you buy them. They just want you to buy them. I mean, how many times and everybody's fallen for this. How many times have you bought something and just used it when it came and you never used it again? Like, things like the Foreman grill. Or, I don't know. In fact, I bought an air fryer, but it wasn't because I saw any commercials on TV. It was because of the fact that all of my friends bought one. It was word of mouth is still a lot more powerful than commercials are, even though they like I say, they pump them at you over and over and over and over. It's almost like a kind of a brainwashing. Buy my stuff. Consume. You will consume our products. You will waste your money on our shit. So that's another reason not to trust any of them, because they just want your money. They don't give a shit whether you can use the products or even if you will use the products. And they want they merely want your money and your loyalty to spending money with them, and to follow and advocate blindly for their whims and enrichment. So, all right. So another reason why we're into this now, like I say, the next reason is Las Vegas official accused of killing a reporter will remain in office and get paid. So, he holds public office. He's been all but convicted. In fact, they even denied his bail, I believe, for murdering a journalist. I think he stabbed him to death or something like that. Yet he gets to keep his job and his pay on the taxpayer dime. So, such trust that we have in these folks involved in this, or that these folks have invoked into us, because to the point of where we are going to allow an actual criminal to stay in office and lead us. You know, he became a criminal in the middle of his term, and he can commit this kind of a crime, but we're still going to trust him to run whatever it is he's been elected to run to. Let's see. An elected official who allegedly murdered an investigative reporter. Allegedly. He's in jail for it. They're not letting him out of jail. Somebody let a mosquito in here. Go away. Go away. All right. They always come after me, too. I've got a whole entire house. And in fact, I'm in the very, very back of the house, farthest away from the door, and here he is. Okay. Clark, okay, this guy was a public administrator. Robert Tellis was denied bail last week after he was charged in the stabbing death of Jeff German, a Las Vegas Review journalist who had been probing Tellis' alleged misconduct in office. So, the 4th department, or whatever it is, the 4th, I wish they wouldn't call it that, because that's actually not what it is, really. Freedom of the press. They're supposed to be the guard against the politicians and all of this stuff, but they're not. Most of them aren't. And of course, when they do actually call people on their bullshit, this is the kind of shit that happens. I mean, hell, the My Pillow guy. We'll talk about him in a minute. He's not even a journalist, and look what they're doing to him. Let's see. So yeah, this is another reason not to trust our government, because we've got criminals. They're going to keep them in there. And the thing about it is there's all kinds of people probably in the government as well that can oust this guy, that can impeach him or whatever it is and everything like that. But they're not going to. They're just going to let him. They're just going to let him stay. I mean, they did worse than this to what was his name? The comedian that turned into a politician up in Michigan or wherever it was. He had a picture. He wasn't even touching the lady. He just had a picture of him, ogling and going after her. They kicked him out. They impeached him for that. And this guy murdered somebody. They're not gonna impeach him for that. And we still have to pay his ass. Another reason why we shouldn't be trusting the government. And like I say, these are all things that came to me after I heard parts of 451 Actual's speech about this. Because like I say, the more articles he pulled up, the more it was like, yeah, you just cannot trust these people in charge. You shouldn't anyway. And like I say, that's what the Constitution is for. Our government for certain things is a necessary evil, but they shouldn't be in charge of every little aspect of our lives. Rougarou, the man with the plan. Don't forget, you go to his channel over on Odysee and you'll see the schedule of all the people in our network of salty berserkers or whatever it is, content creators that talk about this stuff. And of course, I've got the call-in talk show. Axe Truth, you can call in on him too, but it's not exactly the same as what I'm doing. So, welcome, Rougarou. There it is. If you're on Rumble, there is the schedule. He does a very good job in keeping that up. And so support him too, man. He doesn't ask for anything when he does this, and he takes real good care of everybody and makes sure that everybody that's in our network gets shared and supported. So thank you, Rougarou. All right, here's another thing that makes me question the powers that be from Breitbart. Grammy winner. Now this guy, they've been talking about this guy for as long as I can remember, at least 10 years or more now because of this. Grammy winner R. Kelly convicted of producing child videos, if you will, enticing girls for sex. I noticed they don't say underage girls, but girls are girls, I guess you could say. Chicago AP. A federal jury in Chicago convicted R. Kelly on Wednesday of producing child pornography and enticing girls for sex after a month-long trial in his hometown, delivering another legal blow to the Grammy Award winner singer who was once one of the world's biggest R&B stars. Prosecutors won convictions on 6 of the 13 counts against him, with many of the convictions carrying long mandatory sentences. But the government lost the marquee count. Kelly and his then business manager successfully rigged his state child pornography trial in 2008. Really? I didn't hear about that. Both of his co-defendants, including longtime business manager Daryl McDavid, who had told jurors that testimony from 4 Kelly accusers had led him to change his mind about Kelly's believability, were acquitted of all charges. The trial was in ways a do-over of Kelly's 2008 child pornography trial. Now, this is another thing that boggles my mind. First of all, this is not allowed, usually. You can't be tried for the same thing twice, especially if you were found innocent the first time. Now, I'm not sure what the precedent is here or anything like that, but and also too, I'm not saying that this guy shouldn't be punished for playing with pudding people, all right, inappropriately. But we know of some others in positions of power and such that had a freaking island complete with transportation and other perks, yet we haven't heard much about them. Yet this guy's getting tried again for something that back in 2008. I mean, why do they keep pushing this guy and not those people? What's the difference here? Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, LDG, it's because he's black. No, I don't think that's the case. I really don't. It could be, of course, if it is the Democrats doing this, because they are the ones that have these problems, and they are the ones that actually have the history of this kind of racism, if you will. But yeah, their trials and punishments of the other people that we know that have done this are nearly a secret. Oh, wow, it's already 9 o'clock. I'll finish this up real quick. So, yeah, okay, they've been caught. One has perished. And the other now has a cushy job in a minimum security prison. But funny, how that case hasn't really gone any farther. Not one of the clients, that they all have names and lists and everything like that. In fact, she's in prison. They could actually coerce that out of her at any time, but they gave her a cushy job and put her in a minimum security prison instead. Which, what's that going to do? I think she's their accountant or something. She's doing the accounting work for that particular prison. I would have somebody check the books after her if I were you. She is a criminal after all. But yeah, again, like I say, none of the clients have ever been questioned, much less held accountable for even that service needing to be necessary in the first place, if you catch my drift. Yet, all we seem to hear about lately is R. Kelly. I mean, and they're literally, according to what I'm reading here, trying him for something that happened in 2008. So, I mean, they're pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing this guy really hard for the same thing that we're not hearing anything about from these people that were notorious and even had their own fucking island. Okay? So, in fact, if I remember correctly, the Boondocks, if you remember that show, the Boondocks, they even made an episode about it. And kind of like, they kind of like pushed it off because of the fact that the 13-year-old or whatever it was, when she testified, she was like, oh yeah, I let him do that to me. It was fucking R. Kelly. Why would, he was a star and all of that. He was a big R&B player. So kind of sort of along the concepts of the Trump grabbing the you-know-what situation. Of course, he didn't actually do it. But I guess in this case, and the only thing you can guess from this, why this guy is so much under pressure and under scrutiny because of the small amount of shit that he was doing. It didn't sound like he had a whole lot of accomplices or any place or any airplanes or pimps or anything like that. But either he refuses to go along with some cabal requirement, or he has something on the others that frequent this type of service that would probably take them down as well. Although I'm surprised he hasn't yet, because, like I say, all the attention on him, none of the attention on them, and they're essentially doing the same thing. In fact, the them is way worse, was way bigger, and, well, you know the rest. What can I tell you? But it also could be a case of the establishment doing what they always do to most of these celebrities, especially if they decide to not go along with everything that they do. I know what they're doing to Cat Williams. But they build them up way past anything that they could have ever dreamed of, just so that they can tear them back down. Because the ratings. Ratings, baby, ratings. All right? The general public has to have someone to hate on, which works for them. And you know the old saying, if it bleeds, it leads. So, again, no publicity is bad publicity either as far as this goes. Although, this isn't the best kind of publicity. This isn't something I'd want on my back. And, it's getting attention, yeah, but is it getting the right attention? Yeah, people are talking about you, but do you really want them to be saying this shit about you? You really want to be known as a pedophile, if you will? Or kid diddler, or any of that stuff. So, and, well, by the way, that's another question that came up about this too when I was doing it. Where's BLM or any of the other black establishment empowerment groups for this man? Don't they usually come out in droves for people like him? You know what I'm saying? He's a criminal and He's getting prosecuted more than other people are getting prosecuted as far as that goes. I mean, I guess he's not important enough of a life for them to bother with. Okay. And of course, they lied about the pillow guy. I'm going to go over that real quick. I was going to let you watch his video because he actually explains what happened. These guys literally tracked him down while he was on a hunting trip at an Arby's. Out in the middle of nowhere, pretty much. They stopped to get a drink, and these guys tracked him down while he was out traveling. And then tried to tell him, don't tell nobody, don't tell nobody. Guess what he did? But another thing, like I say, they're trying to hide it. If this isn't transparent, then you've got to assume that they don't have the best interests of these people in mind or at heart. They're doing something that they know they shouldn't be doing. And I've never known anybody to hide stuff like this that didn't have some kind of a bad motive. Anyway, I could come up with way more examples, and of course, the Drunken Rocky show is next after I sign off. Excuse me. Anyway, what can I tell you? Once again, I want to thank everybody for all of the support. Appreciate it. Make sure you go and see the Drunken Rocky show. I'll try to be on the Roundtable Distraction on Saturday. I'll try not to zone out again if I can help it. Of course, I'm so excited with my own equipment now. I can actually do more and work more. And I am going to test to fail on this stuff, especially since I couldn't get Rumble working after I actually got it working earlier. I might go live. Hopefully, maybe some people will help me out just to make sure that I've got things 5x5. But again, I appreciate everybody being here tonight. Oh, phone call. Got to stay for the phone call. Greetings, you're on the air.
Am I too late?
Nah, you caught me just as I was saying goodbye, so I'll take the phone call. I'll stay on the air as long as I'm getting phone calls.
I just wanted to point that they're coming after all of us.
Oh, yeah.
They're running down the hierarchy. The other thing to pay attention to, Ms. Laura, is that they're going to be coming after you and I, too.
I'm actually surprised I haven't had any knocks on my door yet already, so.
I think
just from association.
Because of where you're at and me because of where I'm at, it's a little harder for them to operate. But I think it's a matter of time.
Well, we'll see. It depends on who we get in office and if we can straighten any of this stuff up before that happens. They're working awful hard at it, though.
My big concern is that they're going to try not to let that happen. They're going to try not to let November happen. But that's my personal concern. Everybody can believe what they want. The biggest thing I want everybody to know, though, is pay attention and keep your head on a swivel because they're finding all kinds of weird things to try to trip people up with.
Oh, sure. They'll even get you and your spouse or you and they'll separate you and then start telling each other that lies about what each other is telling about each other. I know. It won't be pleasant.
Yes, ma'am. That was it. That and I wanted to check in again. I had a chance while I'm driving. Tell you I still love you. I'm paying attention. I'm busy a lot, but I'm paying attention.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. And for those of you that don't know who this is American Citizen or Reverend Rant on Odysee. He does a show on Sunday afternoons at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. What do you call it? The American Rant Show? Yeah, American Rant Show.
Yep. So anyway, keep the good stuff coming. I just wanted my 2 cents in.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yes.
All right, I'll see you later.
American Ink Music says you are right. And yes, we do need to keep our heads on a swivel. Keep up the good work. Keep talking to people because, you know, we can only plant seeds. They have to do it the rest of themselves. So we got to live by example.
the thing is we have to keep throwing gut punches with the information that we share. We have to keep shitting on their narrative. But
Yes.
we also have to pay attention because the real truth is that they're getting desperate.
Good.
That's the scary part. Is they're desperate, but they're going to do desperate acts. That's where, things can start really getting dangerous.
Well, we can do the same thing that they're going to try and do to us, because they keep poking and prodding, and then when somebody goes crazy, they can turn around and say, "Oh, see how bad that person is. See how I told you." We can actually do the same thing to them when they do that. Hey, see how bad these people are. See what I told you about these people. We can do the same shit to them.
Just keep in mind that they're in a death spiral. They have nothing to lose. It's all or nothing for them now.
Yeah, well, that does get pretty dangerous, but we're a lot smarter than they are, too. And we pretty much know their tactics, too. So, I mean, come on. We should be way ahead of them by now. Because they always pull the same crap no matter what.
Well, I think we are. It's just a matter of getting from here to there.
True.
That's all.
Well, we're getting there. And you know what? None of all that stuff really matters anyway, because God is in charge.
God has already cleared the path for us.
He has.
He said the fight is already won. The battle has already been had. It's just got to wait for Satan himself to figure out that his ass was whooped a long time ago.
Yep.
But the rest of us, we still have to show up and participate. Following Christ also means participating, means vigilance.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big message.
I agree. So you say you're on your way home now?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So you're listening to me through your app. How's it working?
It comes and goes depending on where I'm at in my drive.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah, because I got better bandwidth because everybody's been helping me out with it. So and they finally got it back here. So I got 1K on Tuesday, and I'm just so excited because I can now add Rumble.
Well, I live somewhere out in the middle of nowhere, so
I do too, but it's building up here. The Californians are moving like crazy out here right now. People are moving like crazy.
Yeah.
Our community, even though we're out in the boondocks still, the communities around us are just exploding.
Yeah. It's my humble opinion that the vote blue, no matter who people, should be made very uncomfortable.
I agree.
So we can talk more about that later.
Yeah, because they wouldn't hesitate to do it to us. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind they'll destroy Texas if they have their way. Everything they're running from, they'll do again because the people aren't very smart.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's why I say don't vote for Beto, because that will be the end of Texas.
Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to lose signal soon, so I'll let you go. I'll see you later.
All right, American Rant. We'll see you on Sunday. Everybody go and check him out on Odysee, the American Rant Show at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for calling, bud.
God bless. Keep your chin up.
God bless. Good night. All right. Yeah, you can also catch him on some of the Jitsi channels if you guys go into any of the Jitsi channels on the pond or anything like that. And as I was saying, thanks everybody for the support. Thank you for the calls. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for allowing me to grow just a little bit. I've been needing to do that, and I still want to continue. Anything I can do to make the show better and easier for you guys, because this actually is the show for you. I want everybody to call in and tell the world, tell us, keep exercising our First Amendment rights so that we don't have to depend on our Second Amendment rights. Anyways, don't forget to go to see Junk and Rocky's show. He's probably started by now, and of course, if you're not interested in that, I believe Crackgalactica might be on. And of course, always Pastor Chatelet's Pond over on Odysee as well. I do appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a great week. Don't let the turkeys get you down, etc. and etc. And don't trust the government. These guys don't care about us. As you can see, Thomas Sowell said it the main way. They only care about keeping their job. And the reason why we have such a huge bureaucracy now is because each person has a specialized job and they'll do anything they can to keep it. They don't care about you or me. So, become ungovernable. Thanks everybody for being here tonight. We'll see you guys next Thursday. And until next time, AMF.